Kestrel, all three of them are going to be like both these teams are going to wish that they could ban away 3 heroes so they could just get those 3 taken off the board. But it is only 2 bans aside, and so they take away the Rhyme and the Blackfeather. G2, because of the Lyra pickup, there is a potential for them to go for this Kestrel. They're going to take themselves a Krull, ban the Petal, which is always very smart to do after you've gotten yourself that Krull. But now Salty Potatoes have to choose between, do they want to try and ban away the Arden, or do they ban away the Kestrel? And then G2 will have a very similar choice to make on their side.
I think G2, what will they probably do if Catherine is not banned here, they will pick her up like they've done in the past multiple times to allow the last pick to be a carry hero to come out to counter the entire composition of Salty Potatoes. The Kestrel does get banned, and that might force G2 to switch their strategies a little bit, just because Kestrel has been that last pick for them to allow the carry to come out from Hundor from the backline behind Krull.
I think they could still go for the Catherine and then just make that last pick be like a Vox and kind of fills the same role, but they're actually going to take the Vox now, which this is probably actually the smarter choice, because Salty Potatoes could have very easily grabbed the Vox for themselves, whereas they're not going to take a Catherine when they already have a Lyra.
Yeah, also, consider the situation they set themselves up for. We've been talking about Sneaky loving this meta, right? Because of Vox, because of Kestrel, because of Blackfeather. They're all gone now.
I was just touching about or on that before the draft started. Getting one of the tier 1 heroes and then denying the other 2 is very important. One thing that's been slipping through the cracks is the Saw, and Salty Potatoes did play it yesterday and they won with it. So against Vox, it actually works very well as well, because Vox's range is very low, so when you try to go up to last hit, you're in the threat of Saw dealing some damage to you and pressuring you off. So Salty Potatoes, I like how they're adapting. Even though the top 3 heroes for the carry role were taken away, they go for the Saw and the Baptiste.
Yes. The Baptiste makes this even more interesting, because now the Ordained, if they can lock someone up, Saw can just decimate them and just tear through health bars. Still expect the Catherine to be the pick for G2, just to work this composition in a similar style as they have been, but we could also see the Arden come out, because he is just a very strong pick for the Catherine role, or captain role, being able to provide that little bit of extra protection and movement speed to get away from a Saw perhaps, or to dive onto if need be. But they are going to stick with the Catherine pick. They still feel very confident that this is the way to go, with the Catherine, Krull, and then a weapon carry.
Absolutely. The Catherine will be their lock-in here. And I have to ask you guys, we've got a Saw coming on in. It looks like probably a weapon power Saw. Are we just going to see Salty Potatoes sit in that lane and push to win? Is that the strategy here?
If they do, they're going to have to be very wary of where Dark Potato is in the jungle and where he's rotating to and how quickly he's clearing camps. They're going to have to be able to answer the jungle a bit better than what Fnatic did if they're going to be able to win.
Indeed. I mean, they don't also have to pressure it too heavily, just because Saw Open Power is still very strong late game. He got effectively a 50% buff to his attack speed and his attack damage late game in 2.9, so they can still put a lot of late game, especially with the Baptiste. When people or Krull and Catherine will try to engage on the side, you can use your Fearsome Shade to push them away and then allow the Saw to deal a lot of damage. So it can go either way, but if they can get a few turrets in the early game, that would work out greatly for them.
Absolutely. We said that Sneaky is the player to watch, and when he's on something like a Saw, I feel like Saw is one of those picks that is automatically something you have to watch in these games. Final thoughts quickly, Bacon?
If I'm not mistaken, yesterday when they had the Saw, it was an 11-minute game, so they do know how to push these turrets quick.
All right, we'll see if they can pull that one off here today. It's time to get on into this one. Hashtag Vainglory8 on Twitter. Is G2 the favorite, or can Salty Potatoes take this? We want to know what you think at home, but it's time to pass it over to our casters and get into our EU final.
That's right, the EU final. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the Saw Salty Potatoes versus G2 Esports. We've done it. We're into the game. We got a Scarecrow Baptiste. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go, Humanist. Salty Potatoes is 6th seed in the standings as of today, or as of this weekend, rather. G2 2nd seed. If they win this, if Salty Potatoes can win this, it's a huge upset. They could very well be the Giant Slayers that we've been talking about here. They could slay themselves a G2 Giant, and it looks like they're taking this Elder Treant for themselves to get an early lead.
Easy execute with the roadie run there. I'm excited to see Saw push turret. Saw, one of my favorite heroes, and we haven't seen too much of him. Hold that, and Kiana moving forward. Just a little bit of harass and getting a little stun stack there, but how do we expect this to play out?
Well, there's a number of things that could happen, Humanist. So I feel like there was a respect ban on that rhyme because we've been seeing it played so well. But Saw, he has a weapon power buff this update, 2.9.1, and Baptiste can really lock up that Cruel to prevent him from diving in on the Saw, onto Sneaky. If they're able to just continually do that and harass Cruel over and over again with those Ordains, then this could be a very good game for Salty Potatoes.
You know, like every time we get in this situation, I just a little suppressing fire. I just dream that we can see a CP Vox, and it's just not so strong right now, and the odds of that coming out are very low. But you know, whenever you see the weapon Saw, he's so immobile. You just feel like it would work.
Yeah, he's so immobile. See, that's the thing. That's what I do like about G2's composition, is that if they can just use Keanu Nukoa's Merciless Pursuit over and over again, it looks like he got slowed up right there by the suppressing fire, but if he's able to get on to Saw with his Merciless Pursuit, stun him up, and then we have the chain CC coming out of Dark Potato as well, this could be curtains for Saw.
Dark Potato moves up, a nice little roadie run reposition with the Bright Bulwark. Perfect timing there for the Salty Potatoes.
Yeah, and that's another really good tool that's in the bag for Salty Potatoes. If Class can just pop up those Bright Bulwarks at the right time, then we're actually going to have a lot of good crowd control coming out of Class and Salty Potatoes, and that could prevent a lot of these dives.
Salty Potatoes, what a strong performance here. Looking great. To make it this far into the weekend and stacking up against a G2 team who's been absolutely red hot on fire. Hundor is kind of struggling right now. Dark Potato needs to make his way up, and there he has it. Imperial Sigil already used. Class going to take a bunch of damage here, but he won't find a kill. Reposition backwards. Sneaky dropping low. Keanu. What has he done? The Stormguard is timed out. Roadie run to reposition, but Dark Potato moves forward. Sneaky, is he in trouble? The suppressing fire. Dark Potato's dropping low. Dark Potato will go down, but the first blood going to G2. Will Keanu go down? That is the question. Joker gets the Ordained, but a Healing Flask comes out of Keanu, and it looks like this will just be a 1-for-1 trade.
1-for-1, and Dark Potato got first blood, actually. Really smart move by him in that last team fight. What we actually saw was Sneaky used his suppressing fire in a very awkward direction. He aimed it towards his side, and because he was doing that, Dark Potato was able to just hop on the other side of him in that bush.
Yeah, right over here.
Just avoid. I'm gonna avoid that suppressing fire and just wail on him, continue those weakness stacks, and ended up taking him out for first blood.
Yeah, well, they've sealed the deal. It's going to be, of course, our double weapon coming out of G2. It's going to be very, very strong. It just takes a little bit of coordination here. We'll see players that they go for that Bonesaw again on the Kroll. Sneaky taking a lot of damage, few weakness stacks, 344 damage, all calculated by Sneaky. Dark Potato, one more stack, he would have found the kill there. But the Saw doing okay. As long as he doesn't go down here, he has the Lyra.
Yeah, he has the Lyra to give him some really good sustain. She's picked up the Dragon's Heart too, so that's increased her base health. Going to be able to give that early on in the game. Looks like she could be going towards... She's got an energy battery for that sustain, but I would like to see the Lyra actually pick up an Echo as well to be able to echo those Bright Bulwarks and increase the crowd control that they will have there to prevent those dives coming out from G2. But still...
I feel like a Null Wave Gauntlet would do really good this game too.
Yeah, a Null Wave Gauntlet would be great. That way she can actually... Oh, looks like Class is going low.
Yeah, Honor taking a lot of damage himself. It's going to Sonic Zoom to get a couple of attacks off, but he had to respect that Ordain. Now Dark Potato dropping low, slowed up so much slow actually coming out of Salted Potatoes as they reverse the back there, and they're going to just move forward with the Siege one more time, throwing another Sigil down. Class healing his teammates up, giving them a small movement speed bonus. They're going to lock onto the turret. Looks like turret should go down here. Ordain onto Hundor. Hundor with the healing flask. He's going to be okay, stands his ground. Class just buying time for his team and doing a great job. That's going to be the first turret down in 5 minutes.
Wow, it's looking really good for Salty Potatoes right now. We do see the Sorrow Blade picked up by Saw right now, so that's going to be some heavy damage coming out of him. Weapon Power Saw, looking good. Crucible picked up by this Lyra. Base healing is going to be hard in effect. And we do see Hundor on the other side actually has gotten a Poison Shiv for himself, so that's going to give him some really good sustain. And because we have a weapon power, double weapon power rather, composition coming out of G2, that's going to be some really... we need a Bonesaw, and it looks like Dark Potato will be building towards that Bonesaw there. Shatter Glass coming out for the Joker. Going to be some good flat base damage coming out of him on that on those bad mojos with that heavy CP damage he's going to be having. Fountain rather, for Keanu Nakoa, and it looks like Fountain is next on the list for Class.
Looks like it's going to be next on the list. Ordained there. Keanu's going to be stunned up, and the Stormguard actually timing out. He's dropping low, taking a huge chunk of damage, but look, Dark Potato in the bushes. These shadows have empowered him. He's on to Sneaky from the backside there. Did they block off the stun? Yeah, they actually blocked the stun off. Hundor dropping low. Hundor is down. They've got the kill moving forward. Dark Potato dropping low. He's just caught with the tip of that suppressing fire. Enough slow to let Joker and Classed hammer away on him for a second there. And this is one of the things. Joker, he has a lot of damage, but not a whole bunch of, I was going to say sustain, but he pops that flask and kind of proves me wrong there. He's actually in very healthy fighting shape. A bit of a surprise. And turret goes down. This is Salty Potatoes just waging war against G2, moving forward, taking kills, taking turrets. Looks like they're about to take the jungle if they have the chance.
You know, it's really great that Sneaky was actually the player to watch, Humanist, because he is the player to watch. I'm excited to see the stacks build up on this Saw, to be able to see what kind of potential he has. We know Saw push turret, and that's what he's been doing. Look at this. We're already down to 3 turrets for the side of G2. Salty Potatoes gonna kill the G2 giant. Maybe, possibly. Fountain picked up by Lyra. So we're gonna have some really good sustain coming out on their side. And a minion candy as well. They really want to push this lane up.
Yeah, of course, minion candy's on both sides right now. I'm just really curious, can Dark Potato make this Atlas Pauldron work here? This is a great tool to shut down the Saw. Saw does not have a block. Class has a Crucible, but there's other things he wants to block. You gotta wait for it. From the Vox, you got the From Hell's Heart that you'd like to block off, as well as the Blast Trimmer. A lot of things to keep in mind here.
Yeah, especially if we get an Echo on Keanu Nakoa. That's going to be a double Blast Trimmer that we're going to have to worry about. Infusion picked up by the Joker. Sorrow Blade picked up by Hundor, so that's going to give him some really good flat base weapon power damage as well. Oh man, look at Saw. Look at Sneaky. He's got himself a Sorrow Blade working towards that critical damage.
Ooh, he
Tyrant's
got it.
Monocle, just picked up. And we've also been seeing that the Suppressing Fire has been doing so much work. If he's able to get that on, especially Dark Potato's not able to get around, reposition, and engage like he has needed to do. He needs to be able to gank.
This might get sloppy here. Wait for it over the top side. Salty Potatoes find themselves silenced, but a big fearsome shady the other way sends G2 running on Arcane Passage in very aggressive play. But Sneaky, he's powered up. He can move forward. He's spun up so hard. Takes the Arcane Passage. Says it's a beautiful combo. Can he get back to the other side? Yeah, he can. Gets the execute with the roadie run. The ace comes through, and Salty Potatoes are up 5-1. They're going to get the gold miner. So, oh, Sneaky, have mercy. He moves down to take the Crystal Sentry as well. Oh my goodness.
The objectives and giants are just falling all over the place for Salty Potatoes right now. You mentioned the roadie run, Humanist. It's so important because Saw is so immobile. Not only can you do the dank shank and get some really good damage in, he's not the CP Saw, but he can still get some good damage to execute with. And execute is so important here in 2.9.1 because it does the percentage of base health. So if the target is missing health, it's going to do more damage, which is actually really, really good for Sneaky on this Saw.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The execution just basically style points. You know, this is one of the combinations that we talked about seasons ago, and it just didn't come to fruition. Weapon Saw fell out of the meta quite a bit. Now that Saw is a viable option, the Lyra is so strong. You see him spun up on the backside. They take the Arcane Passage right onto the back lines of the fight, and Saw just starts tearing through. It's really hard to plan for that. Now, Dark Potato, he's in the brush. He's empowered. He has his ultimate. Salty Potatoes are moving forward. Dark Potato doesn't want any of this just yet. Hundor using Sonic Zoom to get himself out of that suppressing fire. Keanu ordained up, waits for it to time out. Not really a problem for him just yet. Sneaky still spun up. Without the minions, they don't really want to get in range of that turret lest they take a bad fight and kind of throw their advantage here. No strangers to throwing a game. Keanu Nakoa, the Stormguard, you can't blow him up right off the bat, but wait for it to time out. There you go! The Fearsome Shade disrupting G2 and the Execute coming down on the captain of G2. Hundor, can he stand his ground here? He's infused up. Dark Potato moves in. They've lost the turret. Dark Potato getting absolutely lit up as Saw just stutter steps his face off. Hundor with the healing flash, the arcane passage forward. Look for it. Saw, spawn up. There he is. Can he get the last hit? Oh! Lyra throws the curveball and gets the kill there 11 minutes in. Salty Potatoes trying to put G2 down hard here. Turret will, for the love of God, drop aggro off of the Joker, please. One turret's down, one turret remaining. G2 just on a sliver of life hanging into this game.
They sure are. They're hanging by nails right now, Humanist. Sneaky he is doing so much work, but at the same time, he's also facilitating. He is the damage threat right now. They need to worry about him, but at the same time, we're also seeing the Joker throwing out his bad mojos, getting work done too. He's sitting on 2-0 and 6 right now. Classed with the Principal Arcanum, an important buff that we have for Lyra this patch, throwing that out when they're out of range for everybody else. She's able to just get so much work done too, and things are looking really good for them. 8-1 right now, 12 minutes in, and I'm wondering if this could be an early game, pre-15-minute game for Salty Potatoes.
If you had to bet on it, what would you say? What's it gonna be? What time will this game end?
I'm gonna say, oh man, looks like they're taking it a little safe right now. So I'm gonna say they're gonna take the Kraken, and then they're gonna be able to get it. If the Kraken comes out the Kraken's gonna come out within the next 3 minutes. If she will be out.
Let's see. That would be actually pretty troll. A little RNG on whether or not Kraken spawns. Like, we're not gonna Kraken this game. Rip. All right, Salty Potatoes. They've taken the gold miner. They have net worth advantage. They group up, moving forward. Everybody infused currently for the Potatoes. Keanu not infused, and 2 weapon infusions timing out for the carry and jungler of G2. Salty Potatoes drop down into the jungle, take the Crystal Sentry. 1 life remaining there. They take out the back camps as well. Money in the bank. Let's go, G2, what you think? They're gonna move in, they look for the stun. He blocks off, oh, they got the Atlas Pauldron off him, but he blocked off the stun there, and they delete Dark Potato. What an absolute monstrous play now. A circuit execute coming through. Sneaky! Missed to take yo live, takes a triple kill right there. 13 minutes and 11-1. Salty Potatoes showing us how to play Vainglory here in the Week 2 final.
Sneaky is looking at Dark Potato like, how does it feel, love? And he just gives him a dank shank and executes him so well. This Vade Crystal is going down. Only 1 kill allowed onto Salty Potatoes. Things were looking so good for them, and it looks like they could very well be the G2 Giant Killer that we've been talking about this whole time today, Humanist. Really good game, sub 15 minutes, and Saw, the playmaker here with Sneaky.
Saw! He's so strong. It's a thing of beauty. Absolute incredible play all around from all of his teammates as well. I mean, Joker, some amazing fearsome shades there, Sean. Disrupting the fight, allowing the Saw to stand his ground. Amazing arcane passages from the backline into the from the front line into the backline at G2.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Principal Arcanum's doing so much work, and the Fearsome Shades, look at that, 9 assists on the Joker.
Unbelievable. Well, to break this one down, let's know, how did Salty Potatoes do it? Munchables and our analysts.
Saw push to win, baby, is how they did it. What a performance coming out from Salty Potatoes, 11-1. Basically doing in this game what G2 did in their last game of their semifinals. Incredible stuff, and using this Saw pick to great effect.
Yeah, as my good friend, the legendary exceptions would say, Saw push turret. That was absolutely incredible work from the side of Salty Potatoes to make this pick work so effectively, though.
Yeah, I mean, I like the draft just because of how they countered the strategy coming from G2 to take away Blackfeather and Kestrel and then pick the Vox. The Saw works perfectly against him, and he's the next best hero available anyway. Maybe he's even better now. Who knows?
Maybe Saw is now meta. Let's take a look at some of our replays from that one. All of the replays going to be in favor of Salty Potatoes.
Yeah, and I mean, Salty Potatoes just from the start were being very aggressive. See, 8 minutes in, they've already got the 2 turrets down. They're just working on these other objectives and finding these fights. Excellent work of using both the Fearsome Shade and the Roadie Run in order to get them out of the fight that was trying to be engaged by G2, and then using the portals to re-engage and get back onto the back lines to take out their targets. It was just overall the way that they played these fights of going in and out and in and out was just so clean.
It's honestly perfect execution. It's exactly what I was talking about in draft. When Cruel and Catherine and Vox tried to go on the side, you use the fearsome shade to push them away and counter the initiation. Then once Saw spans up again using his expressive fire, you teleport, you allow him to catch up to the team fight, and you allow him to catch up to his enemies. Salty Potatoes, they're just an entirely different team this weekend. I'm not even sure what's going on.
And this is against the G2 that looked dominant against Fnatic as well. What a performance in Game 1. Let's take a look at the next replay. It's around 10.5 minutes on into this one. And this was Salty Potatoes trying to push this choke point.
Yeah, I mean, and you said it there. They looked dominant against Fnatic. They took down SK, and Salty Potatoes just manhandled them in this game. Just so much pressure. It didn't matter who is on the front lines. That's one of the beautiful things about Saw is he doesn't care about which target is the closest. He's just going to start shooting them and just tearing through their health. There's no way for any of these members to survive once he gets this far ahead. And if you say this far ahead, it's 2 items. He's sitting on 2 offensive items and is just melting the members of G2 because it's so early in the game.
Yeah, just phenomenal play coming out from them across the board. I'm kind of shell-shocked on this victory, honestly. There was one more push that ended the game. It looked like they were going to end the game there, honestly, but they were pushed back in the end. They didn't have enough minions. And then it was just 3 minutes later before this fight happened.
I mean, our lovely producers said that Salty Potatoes came out screaming. I've been screaming about Saw since the beginning of 2.9, and you can see the execution damage from his roadie run. 558 damage, even though he doesn't have any CP.
Yeah.
That's why I was screaming about him. His roadie run and his ultimate have such large and such great execution potential, and now with all the health changes in 2.9, the way most heroes have more health but less defense, it works perfectly for his kit.
Now, I really, really want to take a look at the damage from this game and see where this composition lies, because obviously the reason that they won so quickly is they were destroying turrets, and actually Hundo ahead on hero damage, because hero damage didn't really matter to Sneaky. He was focusing on the turrets, but the Joker miles ahead of Dark Potato.
Yeah, I mean, the Joker even ahead of Sneaky in terms of the hero damage. It was, again, this is a composition, or a team, I should say, for Salty Potatoes where, yes, the Sneaky is the one that gets a lot of the credit, gets a lot of the praise. He's the one that you have to focus on, but the Joker is just putting in work with these junglers.
Yeah, it's honestly what we were say about Mousesports, especially when Leon came onto the team. We would say that Leon would draw a lot of the focus, and that would allow the Doom to be very aggressive with his playstyle. Now it's working for Salty Potatoes, because going up against the Saw, you have to focus him in team fights. Otherwise, you're going to get destroyed by him with all of the damage that comes out of him. But focusing him, it allows Batiste to do the exact same thing.
Absolutely, and it allows now in the draft Dark Potato to grab himself the Krull. We saw Dark Potato on Krull in their first game of their semi-final, getting a 2 versus 1. I'm excited to see what he can do in this game with the Krull.
Yeah, well, the Kestrel is going to be his opposition, and we've already seen Salty Potatoes make some magic happen with the Kestrel, so definitely that comfort pick. This is, again, this update for Salty Potatoes is just so good for them, because you can't completely counter out Sneaky anymore. You used to be able to just take care of take his top picks off the board, and then you have a much easier time against Salty Potatoes. That's not the case on update 2.9.
I wouldn't be surprised if Salty Potatoes picked the Catherine if G2 had not banned it, but G2 banned it. I actually think this works even better for Salty Potatoes, because now they can take either the Lyra or the Arden, and they don't have to worry about going up against the Catherine with the Kestrel. The Celeste ban, FYI, it's a pick that works versus the Kestrel better than the Vox. So when they're banning the Celeste, they're saying, we don't want to go up your Celeste. You can get your Vox. Again, we still outrange you just the same way we did with the Saw. Kestrel will be able to still do work versus the Saw or the Vox.
And it's also that, Hundor Celeste is a pretty good Celeste. So taking that, making sure that Hundor doesn't get that pick into his hands, even though he hasn't been able to play it much especially on update 2.9. It's still something that, like you said, would have been able to do really well against the Kestrel. So smart drafting from Salty Potatoes thus far.
See how G2 are going to answer with this one. Now that they've got their Cruel in their back pocket, we'll see what they want to follow that one up with. Obviously, Vox, very potent carry right now. We've seen quite a few double weapon power compositions coming on in, so that wouldn't be too far afield to consider. But only 10 seconds left on this one for them to decide where they want to go. It will be a Lyra.
Yeah, Lyra makes a lot of sense. Again, Art and Lyra are pretty much the top two. Catherine and Grace get thrown around in that discussion too, but most teams, if they have the Lyra or the Arden available, they're going to take one of those two.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Lyra was not the reason why they were taking such a long time to pick it. It was more that they were thinking about the lane hero that they would go for. So Lyra, just because they knew they would go for it, they picked it first to give them another
20 seconds.
Yeah, another 20 seconds to think about their lane pick, and now they go with the Baron. It can work, but if it does get shut down early in mid game, it's going to be extremely hard. However, they do have the Cruel who can help him. It's an elevator comp that I've talked about before, so Cruel will elevate the Baron into getting into his late game.
The other thing is, as of right now, Salty Potatoes don't have a way to dive deep onto this Baron. Usually it's a Black Feather or a Taka that comes out, and I don't see them taking Taka with this composition that they have. It would be a very, very risky pick just to try and get that dive onto the Baron. So they need some way to be able to deal with this backline damage. But like I said, without Black Feather or Rhyme being available, suddenly becomes a lot more difficult.
If they did pick Taka, they picked up Taka, which means there's only one hero in the game that hasn't been played this season of the Vainglory8 now, or this update of the Vainglory8.
This split, there's only the Grumpjaw has not been played this split. Absolutely incredible stuff. But yeah, this Taka, again, it's all about trying to counter Baron.
The Taka, I mean, it can work very well against the Baron. It will have trouble going up against the Cruel and the Lyra. However, if Cruel shuts him down, Taka behind, especially CP, will not be able to do too much damage because you don't have your levels, you don't have your items, and going up against the Lyra, the Bulwark could really do work against the Taka.
Yeah, certainly can shut down a lot of his engage. We've got to talk about the fact Hundor's got a Baron in his hands as well. We know how godly Hundor can be on this Baron pick.
Yeah, and I mean, the only way that they're able to shut down this Baron that I can see is going to be if Taka is able to get the kite in over the Baron right after he uses the jump jets so that the double rockets go into him as he's dodging and negates all that damage. If you do that, you win a fight almost guaranteed because that is so much damage that Baron just gets completely whiffed. And so that's really going to be one of the keys here.
All right, so it's kind of a skill matchup between Hundor and the Joker here, potentially. We'll see how this one's going to pan out. Let us know whether you want Salty Potatoes to finish off the upset and win the entire weekend, or if you want G2 to come back into this one. Hashtag Vainglory8. It's time to get on into game number 2 of our finals and pass it over to the casters.
Well, that's right. We have game 2 here between G2 Esports and Salty Potatoes. Very fun draft, I think, coming out here for both sides. A Baron. We're going to have, for G2, a Taka on the other side for the Salty Potatoes. A lot of firepower here this game, Sean.
A lot of firepower, Humanist. G2 right now is saying, fee, fi, fo, fum. I perhaps smell salty potatoes, but salty potatoes, they're David right now, and they are climbing up the beanstalk to take out G2.
Isn't it Jack and the Beanstalk?
Jack and Goliath. I am mixing all the giant euphemisms right now.
I'm Jack, and this is my slingshot. This is my buddy David.
It's so good. It's so good, isn't it? We need to see G2 just make it to late game. Salty Potatoes needs to deny them that late game. And look at this. We're already seeing
Level
Joker.
2. Taka, this is exactly what he wants. Now Hundor has to jump jet, but Joker should be able to stick to him. Kiting over the top. He's got the bonus attack damage plus the movement speed coming out. Hundor's in a bad place, able to make it back to his turret and get the healing from Keanu. So he's going to stay alive. Wow. It's just showing you the power of that Taka early on with that quick level 2.
Yeah, he's so aggressive early on, and he's able to, when he uses his Kaku, he's able to heal up so much, especially by the time it gets to late game. But if Keanu Nakoa wants to prevent the slingshots to be happening, they need to be able to bulwark at the right times. Once Keanu Nakoa throws down a bulwark, he's going to be able to prevent a lot of the dive coming out of the Joker with those X-Retsus. So it's all about timing for him right now.
All about timing. And for Hundor, it's all about fly or die. I think he's got this little helicopter skin. He's going to be trying to make it happen. Baron fell out of the meta, and then a couple players trying to bring him back in. I think it's when he's one of those kind of tier 2, maybe almost like a tier 3 pick up in the lane, but for certain players it jumps up the list a notch or two. Hundor definitely one of those players. Now down in the jungle, actually Joker getting caught out here. A nice flare will reveal him out. He tries to avoid the damage with the Spectral Smite. Dark Potato holding it. Ow, he executes right at the end, but Joker able to heal up. I think he popped a healing flask there right at the end. Dark Potato walking over a Scout Trap with Keanu. It's going to be okay. He gets that Sigil out. Gets a little move speed and heal, but Class able to make his way back. He's using his own healing flask. That Vanguard becomes very durable.
Yeah, the Vanguard, it's great for that movement speed, of course, providing that barrier for the health, and it's going to be very important for Sneaky and Joker to be receiving these Vanguards from Class. Hundor and Dark Potato, double weapon power composition here. We need to see a Bonesaw coming out for Dark Potato, more likely than not. He's going to be able to dive in there and provide a lot of that armor shredding. Once he's able to do that, that's going to make these two squishy targets over on the side of Salty Potatoes even more squishy, and Hundor's just going to be able to burst them down.
Yeah, Hundor is going to look to just blow Kestrel up. If Kestrel can survive through that reposition with an active camo turn around, Hundor will find himself very susceptible to being blown up himself, but usually we see that Baron kind of get the jump there. Hundor drops down to take the back camp as Dark Potato ports home, recalls home, so very nice efficiency rotations out of G2 to get his kind of max efficiency on their farm there.
Yeah, good rotations, and everybody's farming up right now. Look at Joker. He actually has double weapon blade to increase that jungle clear right there. He's already got himself a heavy prism, so if he's able to get some really good CP items like a Shatter Glass, build an Aftershock as well, that's going to be really good for him to be able to get that burst damage he needs with those X-Retsus and just burst down Hundor there on the back line.
Yeah, he definitely will. I think that the double weapon blade also one of the big factors of why he was so strong in that first kind of team fight skirmish. Now, nobody died, but you saw, I mean, he almost took Hundor down.
Yeah, he almost did. And look at Sneaky. He's actually got himself a weapon blade, heavy steel as well. He's going to be working towards that Sorrow Blade to get himself that heavy, that burst damage coming out of him for weapon power. And we don't see a Fountain of Renewal yet for Class, but we don't see one yet for Keanu Nakoa either.
Yeah, I believe Class is going to have that gold very soon. We'll see if he drops down. Joker, good damage there. Just the basic attacks, the kite. He gets also the Vanguard damage. That's kind of one of the kind of boosty things that an Arden can bring to the composition. Like, you jump in, of course, like the X-Retsu, as you said, and then boom, just hit him with that Vanguard. You get that little burst of damage.
Yeah, and also we were talking about, they were actually talking about during the draft phase, how Joker needs to be able to chain his attacks effectively. So if he's able to combo his abilities, get in there with the X-Retsu, wait for maybe the double rockets that are coming out of the jump jets from Hundor, and Kaiten over that, dodging and avoiding the damage, that's going to be really good for them, and then he can actually just go ahead and Kaku out.
It's gonna break my heart. That's one of the worst things to actually ever feel as a Baron. Just a kite and completely avoid your burst damage potential there. Salty Potatoes applying pretty good pressure in the lane. Ooh, look at the Joker. Looking to lay down a little stand-up comedy from the top brush here. I don't know if he Kakus or just X-Retsu down. He's going to Kaku. Is he going to move? Oh, Keanu walks in right into it. Now, it's actually Salty Potatoes that have that Scout Trap down. X-Retsu's in. A little bit of damage there applied, but you see very quickly applied right back the other way. Dark Potato has his ultimate available. Watch the scroll in the brush here if he wants to go ahead and throw that from Hell's Heart. Stun up a target, something that they can kind of chop down together. He thinks better of it, moves down in the jungle looking for some camps, but there's no camps actually spawn. G2 sieging right back at Salty Potatoes.
Yeah, sieging right back. We need to be able to see what G2 can do here. It looks like they're stealing away these camps. Really smart move for them because they need to snowball this game. They're already falling behind in gold a little bit. They're about 400 behind, but this could still swing either way. 6.5 minutes in, we don't have any kills, and we're getting a little bit of poke damage here on this turret. Yeah, it looks like Dark Potato, his next item is probably going to be going towards that Bonesaw there, Humanist.
It's interesting. Obviously, it has some synergy with what the Kroll wants to do, but to take max advantage of that, you know, he wants to have shredded a target's armor before Hundor starts laying into them. We'll see how this is going to play out. It feels like it's kind of hard to make happen.
Yeah, we don't see Keanu Nakoa yet at level 6, which once Lyra hits level 6, she's going to be able to engage very, very effectively. As you know, we have 2 squishy targets here. Tyrant's Monocle actually just gets picked up by Sneaky. And Kestrel and the Joker here on this Taka are pretty squishy. If you could get on them when they don't expect it, throw down the bulwark, limit their mobility so they can't get out of there as easily. Hundor can use a lot of his burst and splash damage coming out of his basic attacks to really knock them down and take them off the fold.
He really can, but keeping track of them is going to be incredibly difficult, and that makes me wonder, you know, is Keanu going to be going for that contraption sooner rather than later just to deal with this double invis comp?
Yeah, if he does that, he is going to be putting more priority into his vision. So that's really important. It's very valid here too. But what actually that would do effectively is that it would also reduce the cooldowns. Oh, Sneaky going in, or Joker going in.
Yeah, Potato's been found out. A nice little 1-2 combo coming out of the Joker there. They're going to move up into the Tri-Brush, realize what's going on. The Joker tries to steal that away, but Hundor secures it. Or does he want to jump jet forward? Maybe look for a play here. Sneaky uses the weapon infusion, level 7. Forgot to say Joker used his zone as well. Joker moving in under the stealth Kaku, X-Retsu kiting over the top, but where is Sneaky? Has there been a miscommunication? Tryon, Ion Cannon coming in right there. The Vanguard onto the Joker. So much sustain, so much damage coming out. Sneaky, active camo. Can he bait Dark Potato into that? Potato's onto Joker. Joker waiting for cooldown. He has the chitin over the top side. Tried to predict it. X-Retsu win, but Hundor actually has the damage there. Well, it's Dark Potato that gets killed. Hundor had the damage. Now the chase is on. Arcane Passage right behind Sneaky. What a play, but Sneaky turns around, finds a kill onto the Potato. Hundor getting that mid-tree hit there. The one shot will come through, but Hundor still incredibly healthy. Both teams trading 1 for 1 as we get our first blood almost 9 minutes into this one.
Yeah, that was actually a really fascinating team fight, Humanist. So what actually happened there was Joker was waiting for his opportune moment to be able to dive in on the Hundor, but he used his X-Retsu. He had weakness stacks stacked up on him from Dark Potato, and because he had those weakness stacks stacked up, Spectral Smite went off and it killed him by the time he used his X-Retsu and landed onto Hundor. Very fascinating dynamic.
You also saw, like, he was trying to wait to time out and guess, when is Dark Potato going to activate that Spectral Smite, of which he could then chitin over it. He chitined a little too early there. This is a highly mechanical game.
Yeah, we have really skilled players here. G2, they're excellent. Hundor on this Baron is doing so good. He actually hasn't gotten killed yet. And it looks like we have him engaged.
Look for the jump here. X-Retsu in. You got the jump jets back. Sneaky looking for damage onto Hundor, but Hundor at max range, they're doing a good job. Now, also we need to keep in mind, as Hundor gets levels here, Sean, he increases his attack range, which is great.
Yeah, that's great, actually. When he can invest his points into his Ion Cannon, not Tryon Cannon, his Ion Cannon.
I'm playing a little too much Blitz, my bad.
When he invests his points into that, he does increase his basic attack range as well. That's immense for him. He's able to get so much attack from afar on this burst damage. And not only is it burst, but it's also AoE damage wherever the rockets land.
Oh, Potato tried to get in there. It's still a gold mine. It's immense gold payout going the way of the Potatoes. Now, Kakuing potentially into enemy territory, then right back out. The Joker thinking twice about that. Looking for the Arcane Passage engage. Dark Potatoes into the backline. Hundor as well. Sneaky starting to get it up. The X-Retsu, it's right onto Hundor, but Hundor blowing them up. They've lost Sneaky. Salty Potatoes look like they're going to fall apart here. Kaku does allow Joker to get out. The class, oh, a nice gauntlet over the wall. I mean, yeah, the style points, you stay alive, but that's a 100-second cooldown, my friend.
Yeah, it's looking pretty grim for them to have to use the defensive gauntlet right there. Class does keep himself alive, and they're just going to have to defend this turret, but there's so much siege potential.
The splash damage. This is why Baron is such a beast. You just can't stack up.
No, you can't stack up against him. He's going to be able to burst you and your comrades down if you're in the same position. You have to maintain a good distance from each other. Now, look at this, Humanist. 2-1 right now. G2 leading the game. But the gold lead is nil right now. Everybody's evened up. And we see just a little bit of a slight lead right now for Salty Potatoes. Each team has lost 1 turret at the moment. So this still could go either way. We have actually a Crucible up for Class. We have double Tyrant's Monocle coming out for Sneaky. So if he survives in these fights, he's going to be able to do so much damage. But because he went down during that last fight, we didn't have the same kind of damage potential coming out of Salty Potatoes.
Yeah, it's really nice to see. Obviously, when we watch G2 engage with an arcane passage and they all go through so quickly and just focus Sneaky down, this is showing off the teamwork and the synergy between these G2 players, and obviously how hard they're working to try and find the win here in this series is incredibly important to them. They are only 4 points behind SK in the overall point standings for Europe right now.
Yeah, they are. So if they're able to just survive this weekend, they're going to be able to do so well. But the thing is, they've got to win 2 games now. They've got to win this game. Things could look either way for them. Looks like Salty Potatoes is turning their attention to the Crystal Sentry.
Tear through it. An arcane passage aggressively, and Bright Bulwark's down. Now, who is the target? Hundor. They're going to look for Sneaky here. Sneaky, he's going to get below him. The jump jet's in. Hundor, he didn't find the target. There you go. Finally, Dark Potato will find the kill. Hundor sustaining through this, looking for the boomerang. Look for the boomerang. Oh, it's going to be blocked off Joker. He's going to get a Vanguard and probably get out of here. That might have been just enough of a slingshot to buy him enough time. And Dark Potato, he's sniffed it out there. They put a scout trap down preemptively. Keanu, what a player. Hundor jump jetting forward. They've got the damage. One more attack. Joker is going to take a little dirt nap there. G2 up 4-1, 13 minutes in.
The Joker juking out as much as he could there, but there was too much vision down. We had the Treant chasing him. We had the Scout Trap down. We had Keanu Nakoa and Dark Potato just trying to hunt him down, and he's in the penalty box, staggering his death timers right now. It looks like the Gold Miner has drawn the attention of G2, so they could be looking to increase their gold lead now.
I like that Keanu finally rotated to the other side with Dark Potato. You see, they wait on the left side waiting for a one-shot to come through. It can help you out. And then when it's dangerous, they look to block it off. Nice plays.
Yeah, really good body blocking plays right there. 4-1 right now for G2. 13 minutes in, Humanist. Things are going to look pretty dicey when the Kraken comes out on the board here. We have a lot of vision control, obviously, for G2. They know they've needed to prioritize vision. They have that contraption sitting in Keanu Nakoa's pocket. So he needs to put down a lot of scout traps to be able to spot out where the Joker is going to be. If they know where he's going to be and they're able to prevent ganks and shut him down when he's diving in, then they're going to be able to succeed in these team fights. We have Sneaky, got his double tyrant's monocle. He's working towards some Pierce right now. He's got that piercing spear in his inventory. Level 11 infusion popped as well. He's the only one with an infusion.
Oh, Sean, I'm very curious here. Dark Potato has a crystal bit. Well, he just sold it. Okay, I don't know if he accidentally bought that or he was just doing it so we could all have a little fun. So Twitch chat could have a little bit of fun. Arcane passage over the top side. Keanu, a nice two-man gauntlet right there. Turns around, Sneaky, finding the damage, but the From Hell's Heart will come out and stun him up. The Joker looking to find damage. Hundor, the jump jet's forward. He's trying to get Sneaky trading back and forth. 718 damage crit coming out. Another jump jet, but this time over the wall. The Joker getting crit down. X-Reds over the top. The Kite, and he finds the damage. Imperial Sigil a little bit short there. The Joker, the Juker, getting his way out. Dark Potato chased Class down, but wasn't able to find the kill, so the Joker and Class both able to get out of this. I think so. Dark Potato, empowering himself up. The Scout Trap would have revealed Dark Potato there. Moving forward, he's not going to chase this Taka down.
No, he's not. Taka's just too fast for him. Despite the movement speed that the empowered Shadows gives Dark Potato, he wasn't able to catch up to them. And the Kraken is on the board here. Both of the carries have respawn now. Sneaky and Hundor looking to do some serious damage here. But Hundor, it's just too easy for him to reposition. Sure, he has a 12-second cooldown on those jump jets, but he's just doing so much work in that last team fight. He went over the wall into his jungle and just prevented himself from dying so early. He stayed alive longer, but of course Joker was able to take him out. The burst damage, 718 damage, as you pointed out. He's doing so much work here, and it looks like he may be going toward another critical strike.
Another critical strike, probably Tornado Trigger, we'd imagine. Also, Shiver Steel completed for Dark Potato. What do you think about this?
Shiver Steel completed. Yeah, that's going to look pretty good for him. That's going to allow, or rather disallow, the mobility of Sneaky and the Joker. If Dark Potato pops that Shiver Steel and gets some auto attacks down, he's going to be able to slow down Sneaky and the Joker very, very effectively. Even with Class having these Vanguards on him. Ooh, looking a little sneaky right now, the boy.
gonna walk right into the stun. Uh-oh, Joker, what's the play? X-Retso in onto the Baron, a Kite back over the top, a defensive gauntlet, but they've lost the Joker. Hundor has the burst damage. Sneaky trying to chase him down. Can Sneaky do it? Oh, he's got a lot of damage, but they trade it. They turn it around. Hundor's got the damage. Keanu's got the kill. Hundor on the other side of the wall. That's too long for Jump Jets over to go ahead and steal that kill right there. He'll allow Dark Potato to do it. No, he jumps Jets forward, missed the steal yo kill. Hundor right there.
B5 faux fum. G2 wants salty potatoes for dinner, and they're gonna have it. These guys, you saw what we just talked about, Humanist. The Shiver Steel being popped, it just allowed class to be slowed that much more. And now they're gonna be working on the Kraken with everybody still in the base. Class still has 7 seconds on the clock for himself in the penalty box. This is gonna be a really difficult contest for them. Actually, it's just gonna be on the leash for G2.
The Kraken has been unleashed. G2, after going down one game here in this final series, find himself up 8-2, about going on 18 minutes into this game here. Small net worth advantage, it's not a huge advantage. They're just finding the damage onto the key targets here. And we'll see if they can do so as they march forward in this lane. What's the biggest thing to keep in mind here on this defense, Sean?
On this defense, we've got to have Sneaky up. He's got to be doing a damage output, taking away the members of G2. If he's able to burst down Hundor effectively, then they're going to be able to survive. But maybe lay down an active camo trap, get some stuns in there. But here we go.
Here we go. Class has the gauntlet if they want to march forward. This Kraken's going to be on about 50% health very quickly here. Keanu may be winding up for an Arcane Passage. I wouldn't be surprised with the way he's been playing thus far. G2 sieging onto the base. This is going to be the gauntlet down, but the Bright Boar kind of pulls it back a little bit. It's only one stun, but actually Hundor walks right into it. A jump shot backwards. The Joker finds himself in a bad position. A lot of crit damage coming out. The Fountain will keep him alive for now. Another jump jet forward. He dodges it with the Kite, but will go down to a basic attack right after 566 something damage. Ion Cannon, they're on to the last turret. G2 are committing. No, he just turns around, destroys the Kestrel. How about the Class? How about a triple kill? Hundor showing us how to play the Baron here. As G2 are going to tie this series up 1-1, 19 minutes in.
1-1. Oh my goodness. This series is going to a game 3. Hundor looking so strong. The jump jets kiting away from the action, giving himself that space that he needed to be able to throw down those double auto attacks. Really well done. Only one death coming out of him, and overall only 2 deaths given over to Salty Potatoes. This is an exciting day for Vainglory Esports, Humanist.
It's an exciting day indeed. And, G2, they did good work. I like the contraption coming out of Keanu. I'm really curious, like, when our analysts break this one down, what they think about the build coming out of the Joker's Taka. It was interesting, and to say the least, but maybe this is something that's quietly becoming meta that I wasn't aware of. Sneaky, once again, also on the Kestrel. This is one of his top picks, but just kind of failed to execute. Sean, instead of us breaking this one down, we're just going to go ahead and throw it over to Munchables and the analysts.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, I'm interested in the Taka build coming out from Joker. You got to give him credit for picking up Taka in the first place. But it is going to be tying the series up 1 apiece. G2 having a similar dominant performance as what Salty Potatoes had in the first game.
Yeah, and this was the Taka pick, I think, is one of the biggest things to talk about here. It was picked up because they needed some way to try and dive onto the backline, some way to try and take care and deal with this Baron. But unfortunately, the Joker just wasn't able to get enough burst damage to really be enough of a threat where they felt like they would have to worry about the Taka diving into the backlines.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Taka pick is something we've also been seeing in the EA region quite a bit. Honestly, I haven't seen anyone use it effectively yet. Not been impressed by anyone who's been picked it up so far. The build also, Shatterglass first into a Clockwork. I actually don't agree with it. I think if he had went for something like an Aftershock, then a Shatterglass, or maybe even a Dragon's Eye, just give yourself more damage and more burst. Like Sean Astino was saying, the Aftershock would have been able to provide that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad he didn't build a Storm Crown, at least. It feels like Storm Crown is just not the item right now, but definitely a questionable pick. Let's take a look at a couple of the replays of this one. Starting off with a fight the Salty Potatoes did manage to trade it.
Yeah, and then early on, they were able to find a little bit of damage done, but again, when he jumps onto this Baron, they get him down. Only about a quarter of his health is missing. After Taka used both an X-Retsu and a Chitin on him, most of the damage was still coming out of Sneaky, but when Taka jumps onto the backline like that, especially because of the fact that Hundor jumped forwards right after Taka jumped on him, now all of a sudden this Taka's not in the fight anymore. There's nothing to protect Sneaky and allow him to continue dealing damage as this Kestrel, and Baron just chunked him down.
Yeah, and unfortunately that was the last fight where Salty Potatoes actually managed to get themselves a kill. This next one around 16 minutes. This is a clean ace coming out for G2.
It was a clean ace coming out for G2, and I love the Bonsaw pick on the Krull. This is the second time we see G2 do this with a very strong backline weapon power carry. First time was the Kestrel, now the Baron. Krull picks up a Bonsaw, and it's the only offensive item he picks. And why it works so well is because when both of those weapon power carries are focused on the same target, the damage coming from the Baron or the Kestrel in the earlier instance is now much greater because the Bonsaw is shredding the armor of those targets. So a great application by G2 to utilize that Bonsaw.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the second time we've seen them using this strategy with the Bonesaw only on the Krull, and it's been working out nicely for them. Now let's take a look at the final replay. This was G2 kind of putting a bow on everything and finishing out the game with a Kraken push.
Yeah, and I also really like Dark Potato going for the Shiver Steel. It's another item that we don't really see all that frequently. It gives a ton of health, but it also gives that slow, which was crucial. Because Baron, once he uses the jump jets, doesn't have much mobility himself, has one of the lowest movement speeds in the game. But if you're slowing down your opponent constantly, you're able to provide the opportunity for Baron to get in there. Again, using different tools available to prevent the gauntlet from landing where the members of Salty Potatoes wanted, and then this slow onto the Joker, which keeps him in range for Hundor to be able to just walk on up and take a couple more shots at him and get the kill.
And I also want to take the game back a little bit to the mid-game where technically Salty Potatoes needed to get ahead during that mid-game with the Taka trying to pick off a few kills off of the Baron when he tries to gank for the Kestrel. But because of that Shadow Glass, not only his clear was a little bit slower because you don't have the proc that comes with the Aftershock or something like a Stormguard banner that could have provided him a faster clear. Also the fact that it takes quite a bit to pick it up, it skips on his power spike at level 6, and that's why Salty Potatoes weren't able to get a huge lead. They weren't able to get any significant lead at all actually during the mid game, and had that happened, the game might have been able to go differently.
Yeah, perhaps the build was the issue rather than the pick itself. Let's take a look at the damage done during that game and compare these carries. Hundor,
I don't think there is a comparison to be made.
This is why you never give Hundor Baron right here. Almost double anyone else's damage in the game. Just a couple of hundred between Sneaky and Hundor doing double the damage.
Yeah, I mean, you add up the damage that Sneaky and the Joker did, and you still aren't equaling what Hundor did himself. Absolutely insane amounts of damage coming from this Baron pick. And again, it was all about the draft. They recognized, okay, they have Kestrel and Arden. They have no way to get onto this Baron and shut him down because Blackfeather's banned, Rhyme is banned. And so it made so much sense for them to grab the Baron in this situation.
And the thing to bear in mind, the reason that damage is so impressive as well for Hundor is this was not a long game. It's not like this was a 30-minute game where he had tons of time to dish out damage. He almost had 60k damage in like a 20-minute game. That is incredibly impressive. We're on to the next draft. Salty Potatoes starting off with a Rhyme ban, and G2 going to ban away the Blackfeather, so standard start.
Right, I mean, like you mentioned, Tasty Bacon, I'm really liking the evolution of the draft in general in this series. Both Salty Potatoes and G2 are adapting very well to their opponent's picks and bans. The Lyra first pick, they're deciding to go with it over the Krull, and Salty Potatoes at this point are saying we thought that the Lyra was the actual reason why we won last game, and I don't really necessarily disagree with them because when Taika was going in on the Baron, it was the Lyra sustain that kept him alive and brought him back to full health to allow him to deal his damage.
Yeah, you know, one of the best things against a Baron is to burst him down. One of the best things against burst is to get a solid heal coming through from someone like a Lyra. So it does make sense to force this change up. But now G2, Kestrel being banned away by Salty Potatoes, I think is an incredibly smart ban at this point. But now G2, again, have options. I would like to see them go for their captain, like to take something like the Arden, and then maybe even the Grace or the Catherine, and save their final pick for that counter for the side of Hundor. It's not even so much for Hundor to get a counter pick, but more to make sure that Hundor doesn't get counter picked himself.
I agree. I like the fact that G2 didn't fall to the same trap Salty Potatoes laid down the first game, where had they picked the Vox, they would have went for a Saw, and this time they have a Lyra, an even stronger pushing composition. However, now they do have the Vox available for themselves, and because they have it with the Lyra, they could still defend against something like a Saw, against something like a Baron. Even if G2 pick up Baron again, with the Vox and the Lyra, you can use the portals to initiate on top of the Baron. That was one of the initial counters to Baron when he was very popular back in 2.7.
See where they do choose to go with this one. Still 30 seconds, and it's going to be a Jewel locked in. This is not something I was expecting to see coming out of Sneaky.
Yeah, Jewel is still very, very strong this update. She's one of my favorite laners to play currently. It is one of Sneaky's top heroes. It's one of his most played heroes. I think it's his third most played, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a pick that has a lot of survivability. And because there's a Krull, Arden, those aren't two that are likely to end up on your back, which is the key for a Jewel, is to keep opponents in front of her and make sure that she has that bonus armor plating and the bonus shield that comes with her perks. So, you know, again, this is just really nice by both these teams in terms of the draft in keeping their composition focused on what their opponents are going to be able to do and trying to defeat them that way.
Very interesting to see here what G2 is going to pick up as the last pick for the lane role, because if you go for the Vox, while it can work, especially a Poison Shift can reduce the healing coming from Lyra, and you can also dance around the Jewel with your mobility at the same time. Because of your low range, Jewel can actually apply a lot of pressure early on and can shut you down. So instead they go with the Celeste. This is one of the first Celestes in general, one of the few mages we've seen in 2.9 just because of the CP item changes that have come through in the update. So Hundor picks it up though, and with the Cruel, that's a very strong composition, very well rounded, has very long range late game. Yep. It can still work for them.
It feels like a classic G2 composition as well. You've got that CC chain between the Krull and between the Celeste, and also you've got Hundor on this late game hyper carry Celeste. You've got Dark Potato can play aggressive on this, but you can also play that Krull just to peel as well. Yeah,
a lot of it is going to be focused on the peeling and trying to get weakness stacks built up on the Jewel so that her Thunder Strikes don't hurt quite as much, but it's all going to be about the range game and trying to keep that Jewel at a distance. Thankfully, Celeste has one of the longest ranges in the game, so will be able to kind of try and keep Jewel at bay. But once she jumps in, that's where the concern comes through, because there isn't a ton, aside from the Vanguard and maybe a really well-thrown From Hell's Heart, there isn't a whole lot to keep the Celeste safe if Jewel uses a Rocket Leap and gets into melee range.
Indeed, it's going to be interesting because, in my opinion, Salty Potatoes do have the tools to try and shut down the Celeste late game. With the Lyra portals, you can close the gap very easily, save the Jewel jump even for afterwards. You use the portal, you get close, then when she uses her boots backwards, perhaps you use the jump and keep your distance close to try and finish her off. So it can go either way, but Dark Potato on the Cruel is going to be significant versus the Samuel.
Honestly, Dark Potato on the Krull is one of the highlights of today, quite frankly. I'm excited to see what he can do in this one. Time to head into the final game. Hashtag Vainglory8 on Twitter. Let us know whether you think Salty Potatoes can finish this one off or if G2 are going to be our winners. It's time to pass it over to our casters and get into the last game of our grand final.
A huge matchup here in Game 3 of the EU Finals. Now, Sean, we have Salty Potatoes with a very strong draft pulling out the Weapon Jewel for Sneaky. On the flip side, G2 going over to that very comfortable composition, including the Celeste for Hundor. Do you have a preference here?
Yeah, I have a preference, Humanist. I want G2, or actually, no, you know what? I'm going to go for SP to be taking this. Salty Potatoes.
You said you had a preference.
I do have a preference. Sneaky is going to get to late game with this Jewel. If he gets to late game, he's going to be able to do tons of damage with his weapon power. He's going to be able to get those crits online at level 8, 100% crits with those Thunder Strikes. So I think that Salty Potatoes does have this in the bag. They just have to deny the Celeste, Hundor Celeste, from getting to late game, shut her down early. If they're able to shut her down and avoid ganks from Dark Potato on this Cruel, then they're going to be doing really well.
Hundor Celeste is a thing of beauty. Now, Dark Potato, empowered up, he's going to get the Vanguard. They get the Core Collapse as well. Class taking a whole lot of damage, but they don't want to dive out of the turret just yet. Two of them level 2, Keanu only level 1 there. But a nice aggressive maneuver from G2.
Yes, very, very aggressive, poking out there, going under that turret a little bit. If Hundor can just get to level 8, then he's going to be able to get those maxed out ranged on the Heliogenesis, and he's going to just do tons of work, tons of damage. I'd like to see Hundor pick up at some point a Dragon's Eye in his build. The Joker, I would like to see the same thing, Dragon's Eye on him as well. They both have a lot of poke damage that they're going to be able to do, but with Hundor, I feel like the Celeste is a little bit stronger. She's got really good map control when she throws down those Heliogenesis and can make it a virtual minefield out there on the fold.
Right, providing vision as well can be a huge thing. I wonder, is this a game where a Frostburn is going to make sense? Will we see that be even built here?
No, I don't think so, unless Joker picks that up versus Dark Potato to maybe kite him out a little bit better, put some slows on him, because we know the Vanguard interaction with the Dead Man's Rush could have, and the Shadow's Empowerment can actually be a really good movement speed bonus for Cruel when he's coming out of the bushes. But I feel like the Dragon's Eye would be a little bit stronger here, because you do get a lot more bang for your buck for the Joker. I feel like Hundor just needs to. They actually need to chain their CC for G2. If they can chain their CC onto their focus target, which should be Jewel, just stun her up with a core collapse, get down from Hell's Heart. They should be able to continuously just take her out over and over again.
Yeah, well, that would be ideal for G2, but I'm sure Sneaky's going to have something to say about that. Sneaky, we'll see what he builds into. I mean, he's on route to be going. He can go Sorrowblade, I guess, Serpent's Mask early on. We don't see Serpent's Mask too much, but whatever that first item is, and then usually right into a whole bunch of crit.
Yeah, I say Sorrowblade going into... he does have the Book of Eulogies to sustain just early game, but he could very well go into Sorrowblade, Tyrant's Monocle right away, maybe even get some breaking point if he's going to stay in the fight longer. That way, he can just build up even more weapon power damage and make himself even more of a threat.
More power! Unlimited power for Sneaky. Sneaky has been playing like a monster this week. I want to give this guy credit. I mean... when he was down and out, you know, a lot of people kind of gave up. You hear people talking a little smack, but he never really seems to dip in his skill level. Do that. He doesn't tilt because of it. He seems to only play better, and it's exciting to see. Now, Dark Potato moving up from the jungle. He's going to be empowered up. Nice scout trap once again. Salty Potatoes have been doing this very good, keeping this vision down where the Crow will be rotating from.
We actually saw in that last skirmish in the lane right there, Humanist, that there was a really good core collapse landing onto Sneaky and Class. That's what we need to see coming out of Hundor. If he's able to continuously, accurately get those core collapses down, they could just keep chaining their CC, and once it gets to late game, Sneaky could very well be done for.
Sneaky will not be done for. Sean, I feel like you're biased towards G2 here. Am I wrong?
I'm not biased towards G2. I actually want SP to win. It's going to be a really good storyline to see the SP go from being near the bottom of the barrel here, being the 6th seed here today, getting potentially into 3rd place, tying it up with Fnatic. That would be an amazing thing to just see them going from the bottom of the barrel to maybe even the middle of the pack.
That's right. It really would be a thing of beauty. Sneaky taking damage actually on the backside there as they drew that turret aggro. Dark Potatoes made his way up. He has the From Hell's Heart. Core Collapse lands on it too. Sneaky starting to get lit up here. I think it was a Crucible actually used out. Came out of class there because he doesn't have the Fountain. He went for the Crucible first, of course. Didn't have my eyes on that before. G2. Very nice stuns coming out, but not able to find anything.
No, they're not. Shatterglass, though, is picked up by Hundor. That's going to allow... Oh, look at that. 445 damage onto Class. Very good CP damage output coming from Hundor with those Heliogenesis and Supernova combinations. Looks like Dark Potato could be working towards... he's actually stealing away some of the jungle from Salty Potatoes. Really good moves by him. But if you look at the gold lead right now, we do see a little bit of an advantage, about 1,000 gold in the lead for Salty Potatoes, and they're sieging up this turret.
They're going to get more. They're going for the turret. Sneaky's on the back line. Is he going to get... Yeah, he'll be able to get out of here, right? No, From Hell's Heart lands. Is the Solar Storm coming through as well? A nice play by Dark Potato as G2 draw first blood. They've lost their turret, but now the push goes back the other way. Let's see if G2 can play their cards right here. Oblivion coming out? Maybe just trying to kill up the minions there. But G2 just lock onto the turret like a pit bull here. It's getting a little bit of that fortified health back, and it will survive through it. G2, a bold play, and kind of a bummer as they drop down into the jungle. There's no mid-treant there, no healing camp for them to steal off very quickly, so they're going to move back with low health across the map into their side of the jungle. And Sneaky, he likes what he sees. He's going to move forward here, gets the move speed bonus from that sigil. Oh, Sneaky wants to dive. You know he wants to dive. He's actually picking up a little bit of crit for himself, but G2, they'll get out of that one.
They will escape with their lives. Dragon's Eye picked up by the Joker. He's low on energy right now, so he's got to be careful. He's getting healed up a little bit, so kudos to Class for doing that. But G2, they want some more. They want some of this gold miner here. We don't see Class yet with a Fountain of Renewal, but once he gets that, that's going to allow for even more sustain in these later team fights. Sorrow Blade was picked up for Sneaky a couple minutes ago, and it looks like he is working towards perhaps a tornado trigger, and that's going to allow him for some really quick auto attacks. We see that there, 295 damage coming out already onto some of these minions. Hundor, his supernovas are hitting pretty hard right now, and he has a Void Battery in tow, going to allow him for some pretty good energy sustain here as he fights up.
I'm pretty sure the attack speed also reduces the cooldown of Thunder Strike, which just has amazing synergy with that item.
Oh yeah, Breaking Point picked up by Dark Potato. It looks like we're going to be having the Cruel on Dark Potato that we know and love as this bruiser who just gets in there and he's able to not only reduce the damage output that's coming out of the carries, but he's also going to be stacking up his own weapon power potential as he fights. They need to be really careful here. They know where they are.
Mind, body, and soul. I'm ready. Dark Potato empowered from the backside. Keanu drops the gauntlet. Sneaky has one thing on his mind, and that is turret. We'll push turret, but on the backside, Dark Potato's found the Joker. He's getting the weakness stacks, but the Drifting Dark is down 798 damage. My goodness. Woo! Hundor takes down the Jewel. He didn't even get the turret. Arcane Passage used defensively. Class trying to get back. He'll use the healing flashes. Potato and Keanu look to chase. They need a Vanguard. They need a Dead Man's Rush, but it's on cooldown. Dark Potato taking 2 turrets. He moves in with a Dead Man's Rush. He'll get the Vanguard on the edge. He gets 2. Dark Potato gets the ace. 4-0. G2 hitting up. I almost blacked out. G2.
G2 looking strong here. 2 kills on Dark Potato, 0 deaths, 1 kill apiece for Keanu, Nakoa, and Hundor. They are looking so aggressive right now here in this mid game. It's looking amazing for them. We had Sneaky going under that turret. There goes the gold mine over to G2, just increasing their gold lead now. They're only a little under 2,000 ahead. But let's go ahead and take a look at the replay, Humanist. So we saw that Sneaky was he got actually stunned up by the gauntlet there. That slowed him up and didn't allow him to do as much damage as he wanted to. The core collapses, supernovas were raining down upon his head. He wasn't able to finish off the turret, and this team fight, it just lasted for so long. And Dark Potato, he didn't give up. He was just like, hey, I'm just gonna go ahead and keep pushing, and you know what, the minions will get here anytime and they'll finish off that turret. Really well played.
Wow.
Using the Dead Man's Rush, getting that double kill there. Who would have thunk it?
I mean, Dark Potato played like a monster, but he was hand in hand with Keanu. Keanu threw the Vanguards, the Fountains, like everything he needed there. That was some beautiful teamwork. And G2 have sunk their teeth into this game 3, and things are looking real good for them. But Sneaky starting to hit some nice powers. My Core Collapse lands. A couple of the Helio, actually Supernova, just blowing Sneaky up here. He's kind of low in health. He'll need an Imperial Sigil to get healed up here real quickly as G2 start to siege up onto this tier 2 turret here. I'm curious what the play is. Did G2 just hang around, or are they going to look to take something else off the map?
I feel like they could just hang around. They all have pretty healthy health bars. The energy is going down a little bit for Hundor.
The problem is that Sneaky's kind of looking to poke, but Hundor is winning that poke battle right now. I almost feel like Salty Potatoes need to just absolutely commit, and maybe that's what they're going to do. As Sneaky picks up the level 9 infusion, he's now going to move out onto the map here. Who's the target? Sigil's down in the brush. Class frontlining for his team. Hundor, he's not super healthy in his overall energy. Well, there's going to be a gauntlet over the wall. A very nice job with the Rocket Leaf stunned up. Sneaky, he's done it again. Solar Storm not even needed as it comes through. G2 punishing Salty Potatoes for some small mistakes right there. Dark Potato moves in. He's on a sliver of health, but he does not care at all. Dark Potato in the building, and he's feeling himself.
Dark Potato getting the Vanguard and surviving just long enough to be able to take out that turret. Really well done by them. Look at the score right now, Humanist, 0-5, and we have about 4,000 gold lead in the bank for G2. Things are looking really good for them. We have the Shatter Glass, Eve of Harvest for Hundor. He's going to be able to sustain his energy and life a lot better. Atlas Pauldron just picked up. That's really important here because Keanu Nakoa is going to be able to dive in, maybe hit a blood for blood, and he's going to be able to activate that Atlas Pauldron to reduce the damage per second coming out of Sneaky.
Yeah, that's going to be a great activatable item that he can get in there and use. I'm amazed looking at Hundor here. The Clockwork has such good synergy with the Celeste. I mean, there's a lot of heroes where you feel like, yeah, it's a pretty good item. Right here, it just feels like an amazing item.
It feels amazing, mostly because it actually just got buffed in the last update. We see that it actually has crystal power itself. And here's the engage.
Sneaky, he's going Dienzio. He dives the turret on the backside. Joker gets blown up. And now Sneaky will go down to a little Core Collapse Heliogenesis combo there. Classed. Well, I don't know if he made that shot call, but he's making a shot call to run out of here right now. Classed holding Fountain through that fight.
Yeah, probably not the best thing. If your carriers are going low, you got to activate that Fountain, especially if you're a Lyra here. Not only could you be able to heal them with the Fountain, but then directionally you could throw out wherever you want your Sigil. It looks like G2 is turning their attention to the Crystal Sentry here, and an Eve of Harvest picked up by the Joker.
Alright, so Sneaky's been going ham on turrets. Solo diving by himself, even when stunned up, doesn't care. He was committing so much to getting that turret down. He did take it out, get some gold for his team. But Sean, was it worth it? I mean, what's the idea here?
I really don't feel like it's been worth it, Humanist. If Sneaky is going to be successful at all, look at, he's only got 0 kills and 4 deaths here, 0 assists. He's all the way on the front lines all the time. He needs to be able to be in better communication with his team. Dark Potato's going in for it, but he just backs off. Look at Hundor right now. He's got nearly full build. He actually has full build with his CP damage items.
Oh, the big red button. Clearing out the minion wave. It's actually a pretty good usage of it, typically. Sneaky trying to be sneaky in the top side, but Hundor's like, I see you, bro. You know, you can't just walk down the lane and try to maybe take another turret without us noticing. It's kind of insane. The weapon jewel can actually take a turret through the fortified health that it has, the backdoor protection.
Yeah, she definitely can, but the thing is, you've got to be able to coordinate with your team. If Sneaky is constantly up there, these Helios are just dropping 700 damage.
Oh my goodness, that is a thing of beauty. Solar Storm rips through, but off the mark. Core Collapse preemptive as Dark Potato moves in from the brush. Dark Potato, he is sitting here on Sneaky, but has he gone too far? They get the Fountain. The Gauntlet comes down, so nail a class, but the Rocket Leap in. Sneaky, it's like he can't choose which target to focus. He's back onto Dark Potato, but G2 have the damage. They take 1, 2, looking for 3. How about a double kill for Dark Potato in the base of Salty Potatoes? It's a disaster, Sean. G2 looking to close out game 3 here and take the finals. They'll split down the damage on these turrets, reducing the cooldown timers, and beautiful things happening for G2 in week 2 when they needed a miracle run to the finals to pull themselves up in the overall point standings. They get her done.
They get it done, Humanist. G2 looking gorgeous, darling. They were able to just completely push over and over again. They didn't care if Sneaky was out there taking their turrets. And you know what? We're just gonna Helio you to death, supernova you to death, and that's exactly what they were doing. They stunned up Sneaky so many times. The damage output from Hundor was just insanity, and getting a perfect game is exactly what G2 needed to do here, and now they have won the finals for this weekend. Looking good here in Europe.
You want to go to the Vainglory World Championship, you got to play like it. G2 have done that time and time again here through this weekend. I'm beyond excited. There's so much drama in the EU competitive scene, or potential drama for shakeups, for storylines on who can actually make it to World Related this year. This was a thing of beauty. I'm excited. We saw Hundor on one of his just beautiful picks, the Celeste, and of course Dark Potato getting a comfort pick, G2 giving Keanu a comfort pick as well. To break this one down, let us know how G2 did this thing of beauty, Munchables, and our analysts.
I may not be the one to answer that one for you, Humanist, but these two gentlemen on my right certainly are. What a performance coming out from G2. After